Powerful stories, powerful sound. This is B360 Productions, where your voice takes center stage.
This is Endeavor to Connect, a podcast from the Blind Endeavors Foundation, an organization dedicated to empowering people with vision loss through movement, connection, and storytelling. In this episode, we invite you into the world of Steve Baskis, a blind U.S. Army veteran, musician, technologist, and advocate. In 2008, Steve lost his sight in Baghdad while protecting a general officer during combat operations. In the years since, he has rebuilt his life, not just to survive, but to thrive. He founded the Blind Endeavors Foundation in 2015 with a simple but powerful mantra: moving is living. What began as a mission to help others with disabilities explore adaptive sports and recreation has grown into a broader platform, one that now shares voices, stories, and innovations from the blind and visually impaired community. Today, we take you inside Steve's home and into his day. Through the power of audio, he shows us what it means to live independently without sight. From brewing a cup of coffee to navigating a treadmill with no screen. From identifying food to making music. It's a day in the life, but told in a way few have ever heard. Close your eyes if you want to. This is how it feels to live blind, with intention and ingenuity. Before the alarm sounds, Steve is dreaming. Yes, blind people dream, often in rich detail. Though he can't see the world anymore, his mind still paints vivid pictures of places, feelings, and memories. As the alarm gently chimes, the day begins.
Hey Siri, stop alarm.
I turned off your 5:30 alarm.
Alrighty. Well, welcome to my home. And I'm going to touch my watch and try to figure out what day it is.
14:38 and 54 seconds. Heart rate. 14th. Latitude. Friday, June 13th.
Friday, June 13th. Alrighty. Let's get the day started. Use the restroom.
The bathroom, a place most of us take for granted, is filled with potential hazards. But in Steve's home, it's a smart space. Automated, voice-controlled, and customized for accessibility. It's designed not just for convenience, but for safety. Steve doesn't just navigate blindness. He also copes with the loss of sensation in one arm. Grooming becomes a carefully choreographed task. With ingenuity and training, tools like nail files replace clippers. His body, like his life, has adapted.
So as I navigate, I'm here in my restroom. You probably can tell because of the reverberation. In my own home, I don't need to use a long white cane. That's an instrument or a tool that the blind and visually impaired use to navigate. But in a familiar place like my home, it's not so necessary. I want to come here into the bathroom and kind of explain some things that are not maybe so talked about in everyday life amongst people who don't really know much about the blind or visually impaired community or how one lives blind. You know, the bathroom can be a dangerous place. You could slip and fall. So everybody's home is a little different. My home was built for accessibility, and there's a lot of electronics, a lot of smart technology built into everything. My shower actually is button operated. So I'm moving around in my bathroom space, and if I press the power button, which I've memorized on this panel, turns on the water. I can turn on another jet, and I can shut it off. I have speakers located throughout my house, both Apple and Amazon style speakers that I can speak to. And if I'm not mistaken, the Alexa speaker here in the master bathroom will turn everything on. Alexa, turn on master bathroom.
Okay.
So you hear the exhaust fan now. If I move over to it, it's on. And if I want to shut it off, Alexa, turn master bathroom off.
Okay.
You know, using the facilities or a bathroom in an unfamiliar place is challenging, because let's say you get out of a taxi and you come into a hotel lobby and you really need to use the restroom. Unless you visited this hotel many times and you have the floor layout memorized, it's quite difficult to just, find your way to the men's restroom or the women's restroom. So communicating with people becomes immensely important. And, as a man, as a male, using the restroom and the toilet is quite simple. I think it's funny, a lot of people are asked these kinds of questions, or I have been asked these questions as a blind person. How do you use the restroom? And it may be, a lot of people may want to ask this type of question, but they really shy away from it because maybe they think it's vulgar or it's a problem to talk about. But really, using the restroom is no different from using, as a blind person, is no different from using the restroom as a sighted person. I, of course, rather sit down in a personal home, like my friend's home or my home, just so I don't make a mess, You women can appreciate that. But quite simply, you just get good at aiming. And it can be a challenging experience. I'll tell you an embarrassing story. I went to a mall and was separated from a family member, I think. And I had someone who was a male, because my family member was female. This other individual who was male helped me to the restroom. And he put me between two urinals. And when you touch the porcelain or the metal piping, you may think you're centered, but you're not. And you may accidentally pee on the wall. And that is what happened to me. I'm not embarrassed to mention it now because it's just something you deal with. And I want this podcast to be educational and open-minded. This is a journey through my space, my home, and my mind. So you are hearing me live life. And if you can imagine it, if you can close your eyes, you can make sense of it all. Maybe a little bit better. Another challenging thing as it relates to grooming and the restroom and using the bathroom is, taking care of your fingernails and toenails. I not only have a visual impairment or complete blindness, I am disabled in my left arm. I have vascular and nerve damage. And the nerve damage in my left arm and hand prevents me from feeling anything. I've lost sensation in my left hand. And so not only my sensation is gone, but my fine motor skills and my dexterity and my strength is gone. So trying to use one hand to feel things while you use an instrument or tool like a nail clipper in the other hand is almost impossible for me. I prefer to use a file, like a nail file, to file my nails down instead of clipping, because clipping with a toenail clipper or a fingernail clipper, requires precise use of the tool so that you don't have jagged edges. And even still, you may still use a file. So the technique that I learned in blind rehabilitation was to use a nail file to take care of my nails. But I think that's it here in the restroom. There's so much I could talk about. But let's move over to my main bedroom, where I am now. I'm just kind of following along my bed, using my sense of touch and my hearing, and I'm making my way, I should say, to my treadmill.
Fitness is fundamental to Steve's philosophy. On his treadmill, there's no screen, no beeps to read, just strips of Velcro. Each shape and texture tells him what a button does. With help from his Apple Watch, he sets off for an indoor walk, guided by touch and
My
tactile.
treadmill. This treadmill is marked. It's marked with tactile Velcro pieces. Like the rough and the soft Velcro you'd find at a store, like Staples. This type of adhesive like Velcro can be useful for marking the plus and minus buttons, the power button. And so, I memorize layouts of physical screens or physical control boards like this on the treadmill. And so if I flip the machine on, it'll start making noise. It's resetting itself. It was elevated. But really, I can use technology like my Apple Watch here to start a workout. So I stand on the treadmill with my feet on the rails, not on the treadmill part where it moves, and I will hit start. The system will boot up. It's starting to move now. I could walk on it really slow. I could raise it, so I'll press it. I can feel these Velcro pieces. For the plus button, it's a vertical shaped or sliced piece of Velcro, and it's soft, the soft style. For the minus, it's horizontal piece of Velcro, and they're very thin, and I can easily tell. So if I press this vertical one, it's raising. So I can hear a beep when I press it. So I've raised it twice, 3 times. Now I can move across from that, and I can feel a rough, large rectangular piece of Velcro. This is to cancel or stop the treadmill. But I could increase the treadmill's speed because there's a minus and plus button to the right of it. So if I press this vertical, it's marked the same way as the elevation controls with the horizontal and vertical Velcro. So if I press this far right button, which is vertical, like 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we can hear that the treadmill is speeding up. I'm keeping my legs, on the rails. But I could go to my Apple Watch now, and I could wake it up.
14:49 and 32 seconds.
And I could tap this side button.
Workout. Open workout. Close button.
And I could pick a workout.
Workout. Heading. Start a check-in when working out. Indoor walk. Open button.
I could pick an indoor
Actions
walk.
available.
And I could start it. It's counting down. Go.
Open goal. Indoor walk.
So now I could get my information.
4 seconds. Adjustable. 5
Tells-
seconds. Adjustable. 7 seconds. 0 active.
That's the time elapsed.
0 active cal.
Calories. So it's just like anything any sighted person would use. But let's end this.
Page 1 of 3. Indoor walk. Heading. End button. End workout.
And
Heading.
let's cancel the treadmill and shut it down. From here, let's move to the kitchen. So I backed off of the treadmill and I'm walking along my wall and to the door, through the door. And before we go to the kitchen, let's check out my laundry room.
In the laundry room, things get tactile. Capacitive buttons with no physical feedback are marked with textured tape. With voice memos as his guide, Steve's turned an everyday appliance into something blind accessible. This is adaptive living in action.
I have 2 doors here that scissor, and when I open them up, I have 2 the washing machine and the dryer. And so I think it's important for me to talk a little bit about this too. So just like the treadmill, there's an interface, a physical control board. Now, some of these technologies, absolutely with the treadmill and with washers and dryers, there are smart technology in some of the newer washers and dryers and treadmills. Almost everything is becoming part of this world of connected technology. And so I don't have any of those right now. I could easily buy them. I make do with what I have here and have marked them in such a way that and memorized them. I want to give people something to think about. So like, imagine you are having a friend mark your treadmill with the Velcro I mentioned, and you want to remember what the pieces are, like the different strips of Velcro and how they're oriented and where they are. What a blind person usually does, if they've gone through blind rehab, is they're taught to record, to use a voice memo recorder, or now you can use your phone, a smartphone, and open up a voice memo app, and you just start a recording. And then, just like you would videotape something, we're just recording audio with a voice memo application. My friend can, label everything, take the adhesive Velcro pieces and mark stuff, and then basically after he's completed that, we can record an audio file that has him or her describing what the layout is and what the buttons are. And I can be very organized with that system of audio files, with naming conventions, so that I can reference it if I forget what a button is or what something is marked. So he would just describe in the top left corner of the treadmill, as you feel along, you'll find this style button, and use this as a reference. And from here, we will describe the rest of the control panel. So I just wanted to let people know how someone might deal with that. That is a system or technique that was taught to me. So now I'm in front of my washer. My washer has this dial, but to the right and left of it are capacitive touch buttons, or they're touch sensitive buttons, and they're flat. There's no kind of feel or tactile feel to them. So I cannot identify where they are. So what we did was, I had my buddy put Velcro along the bottom of the buttons, and I can drag my finger across, and he marked them in such a way that there's rough that goes so far, and then it becomes soft. And when it's at the soft section, when my finger comes to the soft section, I know that if I press the button above, if I move my finger right above that Velcro, it touches the touch sensitive or capacitive touch section that allows me to start the washer. So if I spin the dial, it wakes up. And the nice thing about this particular washer and dryer is if I turn the dial, it's detinted. I believe that's the correct term. It clicks and stops. So these are different modes. And again, I could record this with a voice memo, like at 1 o'clock. Like at 12 o'clock, it makes a beep. So every time I move away from 12 o'clock, like I'm at 1 o'clock, it doesn't make any noise. But if I go back, that's my reference. So from that, I can easily remember like specific modes. And so if I wanted to start the washer, on a regular wash now, I would just follow this rough Velcro to the soft section. Then I would close the door. Got to do that first. Move my finger across the rough Velcro, and then I'm on the soft Velcro. If I move my finger up, it starts the washer, but I'm going to cancel it. So I basically hold my finger here on the left side where there's a similar string of Velcro that does the exact same kind of thing. It guides me with rough Velcro over to the button where the soft Velcro exists. And then I am able to, let's see, let me make sure this is canceled. Pause it. There we go. And then I'm going to cancel it. I don't do that often, so I have to pause it before I can cancel it. Well, that's my washer and dryer. Let's move around here into my kitchen.
Back in the kitchen, Steve wants coffee, but the reservoir is empty and an error flashes on a screen he can't see. He pulls out his phone, launches an app, and uses artificial intelligence to take and interpret a photo of the display. Problem solved. Identifying food without sight is more than guessing by shape. Steve uses barcode scanners and image recognition tools to identify products and access ingredients and instructions. Whether it's almond milk or frozen pizza, technology helps decode the unknown.
Kitchen. So the space opened up. Maybe you could hear that in the recording, maybe not. But we're going to go over a few things here in my kitchen. I am a blind veteran, as you know already from the introduction, and I love coffee. A lot of veterans like coffee, not everybody, but I have a coffee machine here that's on, and I emptied the reservoir to simulate something, because sometimes this technology where I'm memorizing control boards and buttons, there can be some complex things that can occur, errors. And usually a sighted person looks at a screen and sees an error message or dialogue. Well, I'm blind and cannot see the screen. So if I forget to check that the reservoir is empty, then, I'm gonna be frustrated. I'm like, why is this coffee machine not working? There are other things on this fancy coffee machine, like emptying the tray, or cleaning certain parts of the machine where you get errors. But I wanted to demonstrate this by simulating that the water reservoir is empty. So I'm gonna bring out my phone and I'm gonna slow VoiceOver down, which is a screen reader.
1458. Voices, headings, words, characters, speaking rate, 60%, 50%.
So that you guys can understand what it's saying.
Words.
And then I'm gonna open up something called Be My Eyes. It's a free application that anybody can download, but it's designed for the blind and visually impaired. And so if I open up Be My Eyes, so I'm gonna unlock my phone.
Blind Tools folder, 8 apps.
I'm right on the folder I wanna be on. It said Blind Tools folder.
Blind Tools, heading.
So I opened up I'm basically dragging my finger across the screen and it's telling me where I am. So I'm gonna swipe right with these gestures to move to different elements. I'm looking for Be My Eyes. So I'm gonna swipe right.
Be My Eyes.
There it is. I'm gonna double tap anywhere on the screen.
Starting camera.
So this particular application and developer integrated a large language model that some people are familiar with. It's called OpenAI ChatGPT. And if I'm not mistaken, they're still using the large language model to analyze imagery. And so I'm going to take a picture of the screen because I know where it is, and I'm going to see what the problem is.
History, take a picture.
So I'm going to aim the camera as best as I can. I'm using my left hand that I have trouble feeling with to find this, to kind of find the screen. And then I'm going to back off of it and take a picture.
Take picture. Analyzing picture. Please wait.
So let's see what it says.
Coffee machine on a kitchen counter. The display screen on the front of the machine reads "Fill water tank" in red text, indicating that the water reservoir needs to be refilled before you can use the machine.
Wow.
The brand Jurad Model E6 are visible on the chrome spout.
So there, too much information. But you get the point. I can use technology like artificial intelligence and optical character recognition or image recognition to determine or troubleshoot a problem, find a solution to a problem. So that's my coffee machine. I can use my phone to do almost everything that I need around my house. I literally can go and turn the kitchen lights on.
1500.
If I go to this home folder,
Coffee.
so I'm backing out to the home screen.
Home.
I'm going to click on this home application.
Home. In show.
I'm going to move by headings.
Heading. Voice headings. Scenes. Favorite. Living. Master. Garage. Kitchen. House. Kitchen. Button.
Kitchen.
Heading.
So I could go here to the kitchen.
Island. Off. Button.
I could turn the island lights on. Now, you won't see it, and I won't see it, of course, but maybe I want to simulate that I'm home.
Island. 100%.
So I just turned it on. I could technically automate all the lights in my home so that at night for a little while, in the evening they're on, and then they go off, and then, or when sunset comes, all the lights turn off in the house and only some come on for a while. There's a lot that you can do, and there's a lot of reason why a blind person who lives alone, like myself, would like the lights to be automated. But sometimes I want to use a third-party device that's made by another company to identify some food. And barcodes are a great way to do that. There are devices like this ID Mate that I'm about to show you. That's here on the counter. Let's unplug it.
Battery charging stopped.
Let's turn it down a little bit. Let's wake it up.
Memo.
It's already awake.
MP3 system. Help. ID mode.
So ID mode. This is where we want to be. So let's go here to the fridge. I opened up the fridge door, and I know that there's some almond milk here. Let's try to scan it.
Memo. M system. Help. ID mode.
And this is always, it's always challenging. This is sometimes, trying to find the barcode.
Product almond breeze almond milk. Original. Unsweetened.
So it says,
Continue.
it said the brand name. I can now move through some options here. So let's go down.
Package size half gallon. 1.89 L. Product description: 30 calories per serving. Dairy-free, dairy and lactose-free, gluten-free, soy-free, egg-free. Instructions: shake well. For cooking and baking, you can easily swap almond breeze almond milk one for any recipe that calls for milk. Perishable. Keep refrigerated. Do not freeze. Use within 14 days of opening.
So this is built into a third-party device, like a piece of hardware that is something you'd see like a store clerk carry around with them. And it's an older, tool that I
Battery charging started.
still have, but it's very helpful. Now, let's say I can't find a barcode, and I'm going to pull out something that is right in the top of my freezer, and it feels like a pizza. You identify things by how they're packaged, and you learn really quickly, what things feel like. Now, I don't know, where the top is or the bottom is, but I could use Be My Eyes again.
1504.
So I'll pull my phone out.
Outside button.
Let's see.
Home. Special web links.
Let's go to blind.
Let's tools folder.
Open
apps
up.
later. Home. Be My Eyes. Be My
Eyes.
Be My Eyes.
And let's take a picture of this box. So I'm going to put my camera in the center of it.
clear. Coffee machine. Take cock clear. But
And then I'm
clear.
going to clear this last item
Take picture. Button.
now I can take a picture. So I'm going to back away from the box and so that I can get a good picture.
Take picture. Analyzing picture. Please wait. Heading not found.
So let's see what it comes up with.
Frozen pizza box on a granite countertop. The box is mostly red and shows a close-up image of a pizza topped with pepperoni, sausage, green and red bell peppers, and melted cheese. The large text on the left side says Thin Crust Original. The brand DiGiorno is printed in big white letters on.
So there you go. I could let it keep going, but you get the point. So I'm going to put this back in the freezer.
Throughout the home, Steve uses a patchwork of tools, some simple, some sophisticated. What works for one blind person might not work for another. But every tool here shares one purpose: independence. The ability to live on his own terms.
I'm showing you a lot of different things, and there are a lot of, there's a lot of different ways to accomplish things in life. And it's just, the same goes for people who are blind. People prefer using different types of apps, different types of technology or hardware. They may want to use something like the ID Mate that I showed, that's a barcode scanner that uses a red laser, over the phone, because the phone is more complicated. You have to use a screen reader, and a screen reader requires you to understand gestures and where you are in a virtual environment, a digital environment. The screen is flat. I'm just dragging my finger across it. You can easily get lost. There are plenty of people who have their eyesight who have trouble using smartphones. So it can be difficult too for newly blind people or elderly people who are blind. And there are so many other kinds of tools, companies, and organizations that support all different types of people and disabilities.
Finally, we reach the living room, a place of creativity and closure. Steve's Roland keyboard waits for him. As he plays, the day's journey finds its rhythm. The story ends not in silence, but in sound, a melody that speaks of resilience, curiosity, and hope.
I really have enjoyed explaining a lot of what my life entails. I mean, I've only scratched the surface. I'm moving over here to my living room, which is a live room. I have like a recording studio. And, I record and mix and edit this podcast all by myself. I'm blind. And I also, love music. And you're not going to hear the music really well, but I think, it's the best way to say goodbye. But I am sitting here in front of a Roland keyboard. And the cool thing about it is I can play different things, It's such a fun piece of technology. And, as I play, I think about how technology has changed all of our lives.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Endeavor to Connect. To learn more about the Blind Endeavors Foundation, visit blindendeavors.org and subscribe to hear more stories that reveal the world through different eyes. Until next time, keep moving, because moving is living.
Every voice has a story. Every sound carries emotion. At B360 Productions, we don't just edit audio, we shape experiences.
A podcaster's voice, crystal clear.
An author's words brought to life.
A business's message delivered with impact.
Your sound matters. Let's create something unforgettable together. Visit b360productions.com and let's make your project exceptional.
An educator's lesson, engaging and immersive for every student.
B360 Productions. Crafted with precision, delivered with passion.